Hi, Matteo.
Good evening.
Hi, Mateo. Thanks for setting that up.
No problem.
I did not have a verification code, so I'll have to check on that with Grace. But she'd already told me that you could help us out if I was stuck on it. So
Oh, did she?
you
Okay.
did. She said if you can't get in, Mateo knows how to do it. So thank you.
We have four. Is that a quorum?
Um, yes. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, it is. Yes.
I count 5 people.
Well, we have Nate here as well.
I'm here. I'm
5
here.
total.
Yep.
And I think Elizabeth will also be joining us. She did already say that she's having some connection difficulties, so we can expect to see her. And remind me, is there anyone else today? I know Joan is busy. That's it. Yeah, that'll be a lot of us. Great.
Well, I am going to have to take a 2-minute break in 10 minutes because my dinner's in the oven and I have to go check on it.
Okay. Okay, sure. No problem. Do y'all just want to do a quick hello to the group? I'm Kara. I think I've spoken to a few of you this year, setting you up with being on the council this year. Thank you for joining us. Let's see. Mateo, you want to say hello?
Hi, I'm Matteo. This is I think my third time on the council, I think. This is my third year.
Yeah. Jean, you want to pop in there?
Hi, I'm Jean. This is my first time, so I'm looking forward to it.
Great.
Thank you.
And Cheryl, I haven't met you in person yet, but thank you for being here.
Oh, my pleasure. I was really happy when Matteo asked me if I was interested.
Yeah, great. Thank you, Mateo, for connecting us. And Nate, I know you're not feeling that great. I'm happy to have you here as like a voting yay or nay person. That's totally fine.
Thank you. That's the idea.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Great. I'm just pulling up my panel book because I had to switch laptops here. Did you all get the link? Can you see the panel books that I sent?
Not yet.
Okay. Let's see if I can send it again. Let me drop it into the chat.
Sarah, can you remind me again, how much do we have this year?
Let me also check on that. I think it's about 5,500, but let me double check. Let me just add,
At some point I can.
yeah. Can I add something to the chat here? I don't think I can, so let me just email it to everybody again.
Unfortunately, for some reason, the town account does not have chat.
All right.
If you email it to us, then that means we have to look at a different screen.
The panel book is 266 pages.
I know it
Yeah.
is. I've read every single one of them.
Yeah, so yeah, it does require just switching away from your video screen and us talking to each other if you want to reference the notes that are in it. You'll have to toggle back and forth.
I mean, we can also screen share it.
Yes.
And one of us can sort of scroll through as we talk about the different applications.
That would be better.
I love that as an idea. That's great, Mateo. Thank you. I'm just
Matteo, I think you just volunteered.
Glorious. All right.
Do you have the panel book there? I'm just looking. I know I sent it in an email. I'm just looking for it again.
There we go.
Yeah, okay, great. In case no one wants to look at it themselves. Here it is.
And I think we need to have somebody take minutes, right?
Yeah, so yeah, just a moment here. Here comes the panel book. Sometimes what I do is I print the first 3 pages with just the list to keep it handy, but okay, so you asked about the funding as well, how much we have here. So let me take a look.
My panel book only has 2 pages. It seems to be missing page 2. Am I the only one?
Scroll down, 1 of 3.
I was able to look at all of them, I think, but I don't know. I didn't actually use that much. I just read through the whole book.
So
Maybe-
I have all of my panel book has all of the applications. The last
yeah.
thing a page or two. But this is missing from the table of contents list, page 2.
Maybe it didn't load all the way before you started sharing. I don't know. I also just sent it to you again.
There we go. Let's see if this works. Oh, there we go. Okay, I think I can do it now. Yeah, that one's got it all. We're good.
Okay, and the amount we have to grant is $5,702.
$2. Oh, good.
I know.
Evidently,
5,702.
they use some kind of algorithm and then they don't bother to round.
Um, but we'll have to hang that $2 somewhere on someone's. The other thing we need to do, there are a few things from this year. So I worked with the former chair together a year before this year, and then I worked on the chair role by myself this year. And there are a few things that we haven't been doing that mean that we're not in compliance with the state cultural council. One is that we have to do we have to do a community input survey every year in some way where we ask for community input. And so I've set that up as a Google form, which I can share over email with us later. And I shared it in the town in a town email. That's something that we could come up with a way to share, or if any of you have ways to share that link and get more input from the community about cultural programs in Shutesbury, that'd be very, very helpful to share
Are
that.
are you on Nextdoor Shutesbury?
I am on Nextdoor Shutesbury. If someone would like to share that on Nextdoor Shutesbury, that would be amazing if you
Yeah,
wanted to share it as a link.
That's a good place.
Yeah. I would love to have someone take on that because I'm not very active on it. I don't think I would follow up on it, but if someone would be up for that, I can coordinate that with you after the
Well,
meeting.
I'm willing to volunteer, although Mateo has way more experience with Nextdoor Shutesbury than any of the rest of us.
If I post something on Nextdoor, then nobody will see it. It'll just look all right.
Well, it won't have nice views of wildlife doing their funny things.
I just as a note about sort of open meeting law and posting things on social media. If something is posted on social media by a town board or committee or something, we as members can't comment on it. Might be considered deliberation and a violation of open meeting law.
Yep.
Okay.
We can put
As
it
if-
up there, but we can't
Yeah. Discuss it together. Got it. Yeah. I do. Yeah. The community, I mean, their suggestions are to, go to community events, go to where people are hanging out, talk to people at a coffee
Many
shop and share
places.
it with them. So I think sharing on Nextdoor would be in following the spirit of that. But thank you for the reminder about not.
But also, the only two places where we can post anything about this, really, well, maybe three, is the library and the senior, whatever they call the Senior Citizen Center. I mean, we'd have no other gathering places unless you want to include the church.
Right.
Is the
There just aren't any other.
is the purpose of the purpose of the survey is to get information about what people think we should be supporting or prioritizing?
Yeah, it's to get feedback from the community to help inform our the priorities that we set for the cultural council, and then how we make decisions based on those priorities. So basically the route would be gather feedback over time, yearly, and then check in to see if our priorities reflect what the priorities are of feedback in the community.
So basically, we wouldn't be doing, that's obviously something we're not using for this year, but for the next year.
We're not using it for this year because we have very little feedback on it, and I'd love to have
I filled it. I remember getting it, and I filled
Yeah.
it out, and I'm trying to remember where I got it. I may have gotten it just from being on the Shutesbury information. Like I signed up to get Shutesbury notifications.
Yes.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I did put it on the town list, the email list. It's on our website now. I can't remember if I put it in the newsletter or not I'm not sure if it was in the printed newsletter because it is an online form.
Well, you can put a notice in the newsletter that there is a
Yes.
form online.
That's a great
Excuse me, I
idea.
have to go check my casserole.
Okay.
Another potential venue would be to at the start of annual town meeting, Paul, the town moderator, lets committees and boards make announcements before the official business gets started. And so that might be another opportunity to stand up in front of all those voters and say, like, this is what the cultural council is, this is how you can give us feedback, and this is why it's important.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I would like to gather more feedback before we use it to guide our priorities. But this is great. Giving people at least a chance to hear about it.
It wasn't done, so I'll have to go back again in 10 minutes.
Okay. The other thing that we are required to have there's three roles: a chair, a secretary, and a treasurer. We have not historically had a secretary or a treasurer. Here is what I would love to do is to work with two people this year and just write down what those roles are. It's not a huge heavy lift. The secretary would be, I'm just gonna propose, the secretary would be the person who takes notes today and then submits those notes to the town clerk for posting. And perhaps if we meet again through the year, help coordinate setting up the meeting, for example, of what that person would do in their role. And the treasurer, we do a financial report in October. And we work with the town accountant on that. And that I'm not an accountant or a treasurer, but I was able to do that. And it's something I would love to walk through that with someone in September, October. And then the third thing is the state council recommends having a co-chair so that to make sure there's continuity in the council so that a chair can serve 2 years and then a chair is ready to take over and they know sort of how things work in the grant system with Mass Cultural Council. And I think that would also be very positive for us as well, for having since our terms are limited 3 to 6 years, having that kind of continuity as well. I will work on it this year, and then the next year, I think I will be at the end of my term limits myself. So I would love to work with someone as a co-chair this year. Those are the three roles: a co-chair, a secretary, and a treasurer. We can nominate and work on that now, or we could do it at the end of the meeting after we've spoken together and worked together a bit on the grant decisions. Although we do need someone to take notes today.
You think that we're going to still want to sit around and chat after we've gone through 31 of these things?
I mean, either way, we have to have both of these conversations.
Yes.
So yeah, either way. And I don't know if
I
does
think,
any of those
yeah.
roles speak to you right now, or do you have questions?
I'd rather just get it out of the way now.
Okay.
I would volunteer to be the secretary, but I didn't realize that was coming up. I don't feel like I can go back and forth on. I would have brought my other computer home, and I only have one computer, so I feel a little bit like awkward about that. So I'd be fine about volunteering to be a co-chair, but
Okay.
the secretary is just not going to work logistically for me today.
I can
I-
I can just mention one of the advantages to having these meetings via Zoom and having them all recorded is that if you aren't able to take minutes or like thorough minutes
I
as
can do it.
you can go back and use the video to do it. I routinely do that for the other committees that I'm doing minutes on. So if it's something you'd be interested in, but it's a question of keeping like live minutes as we're talking, there is the recording to fall back on.
Okay. All right. Thanks. Anyway, I would go with the co-chair thing, I think, first. It's my first choice. Unless somebody else
I
really
think
wants to do it.
that we should nominate Elizabeth to be secretary since she isn't here. And I volunteer to be treasurer. I've done that a bunch of times for choral groups. Can't be much different.
Okay. Anyone else want to make a nomination or volunteer for any of these roles while they're still open? Okay. Jean has volunteered to be co-chair. All in favor, say aye.
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 Okay. Any opposed? Okay, Jean. Co-chair, thank you. And we'll work together on getting up to speed on those things together this year. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
And Cheryl has volunteered to take on the role of treasurer. Are we everyone in favor? I'm in favor.
Yep.
Aye.
Me.
Anyone opposed? Okay. Thank you, Cheryl. And again, for you, I think for both of you, I'd love to just make sure we sort of make a brief summary of what that role is this year for anyone taking it on in the future. And in just
That's a really
knowing,
good idea.
yeah, and knowing what you're doing in that specific role will mean that you will also be very adjacent to what the chair does, and we'll have a much better, just continuity of the cultural council going forward. If people sort of maybe even each year, every 1 year or 2 years are rotating through these roles, I think that would be good for Shutesbury and for us. We do need someone still to take notes tonight.
I am terrible at taking notes during a meeting because I get involved in the discussion and I forget to write things down. And Mateo's suggestion that you can do it from the recording is a good one, except that right now I have a client that's taking up way too much time and I haven't even got my Christmas presents made yet. So I am not going to volunteer for that extra time.
Still need a note taker though. We still need someone to do it, to take notes today. On a piece of paper. It can be, it's notes are an art form that is your way, the way you would choose to do it, the way you'd like to do it. I've done it a few years before, and it can be as,
How simple, I mean, how detailed does it need to be?
what we have on file with the town is a recording of the meeting.
Mhm.
And what we're going to do next is we will go through, we might not even discuss each of these projects. We'll sort of, if you had a placeholder note for like what the discussion subject was, at any given moment. That would be, like,
But not what everybody says, but
no, it's not it doesn't need to be a
Yes.
transcription. We have the recording, the transcription can be made from it. If you can make it like an outline, if you were gonna make an outline just of, what the topic of discussion was for 10 minutes. We talked
Yeah,
about,
yeah.
how our priorities, will be reflected in our decisions. And then that took 10 minutes, that
Okay.
I would be okay with that.
All right, well, I'll do it because no one else is volunteering.
Thank you.
I'm gonna do it on a piece of paper though. I just
Yeah,
can't
sure.
do it on my
Yeah.
computer, so.
I have done that before and just, I had maybe 2 pages of a notebook,
Okay.
with some notes. Thank you so much. Okay. We still will need a secretary to come, moving forward. So let's, save that for a future conversation. And I also want to say Elizabeth isn't here right now. Joan is not here. And, there's one other person who would like to join the council, and I would love to invite them on as well. What is their name? I don't know if anyone knows. Peggy Woods. Do anyone know Peggy Woods?
Yeah, that name sounds very familiar.
Yeah. She just retired from the writing program at UMass Amherst.
Yeah.
Yep.
When I was a graduate student TA,
Okay.
she had to teach writing.
Great. So, I'm bringing this up because of our, small personnel to choose from, right? We're all, doing a lot. So, I would like to invite Peggy onto the council as well, if that's, sounds okay to everybody.
Sure.
Okay,
It's fine with me.
great. Mateo, can you advise me on, can we discuss, the secretary role like over email after the meeting with everybody who's not here? Or would that be, against open meeting rules in terms of what kind of things we're discussing?
Sorry, gotta go check my casserole.
Sure.
So we can't deliberate as a body via email. It has to be an open meeting. We can email individually, like one person to another.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So
can-
I could ask if there's someone would volunteer for that role, and then I could talk to them about it directly over email. Okay.
So yeah, if you could as an informational email, you could email the whole council and say we are seeking somebody to fill the secretary position. That person would then need to email you back individually to say they're interested.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, that's probably the way it would have to happen. I don't know what the rules are. You probably have to ask the town clerk about what the rules are about whether this is a position that we as a council need to vote on that person in an open
Yeah.
taking, or if this is something where as chair you can appoint somebody.
Yeah. Okay. I can find out about that. Okay.
I think since we deliberated here and agreed that you can contact someone by email just to invite them, or whatever is decided, then you can contact that one person. But yeah, we can't have any discussion about it by email.
Okay. All right. Thank you all. I'm satisfied with that part of the discussion. Thank you, folks, for volunteering. And again, Mateo, thank you for setting us up here. I also want to just do a shout out for Mateo, who updates our webpage as well on, the website, on the Shutesbury Town website. Thank you for doing that this past year as well.
So is this a volunteer position that's limited to 3 years?
Is the, being on the council?
Yeah.
So it's a term, I think I'm using the right phrase, is 3 years, and being appointed is 3 years, and then you can serve a second consecutive 3 years.
Okay.
And then you have to go off the council for at least a year.
Oh, I see.
So I think most folks do 6 years total, and then have to be off the council.
Okay.
Yep. Any other questions? So Do you have any questions about what we've just discussed? Anyone?
Are we going to go over the priorities of the council?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Yeah. So, okay, let's move on to our grant decision making. We have some cultural council priorities that we have set in the past, and I think I'm not looking at them at the moment, but the sort of a main guide that we've used in the past as we look at the list of for this year with 31 applicants is, thank you, Mateo. We give priority to Shutesbury-based applicants, projects, events, and programs that have already secured a local venue, and then the third thing is programs that serve the widest range of local populations. Sometimes that means we have a balance of programs that serve children, families, and then other groups, generations of folks. Sometimes not all programs can serve a vast range in one, but being local, Shutesbury based, we want to make sure we look at those applications and see, how those fit. And the local venue part is pretty important for our town because we don't have very many local venues. And I think sometimes maybe you've seen the panel, sometimes folks will apply for a grant and they don't have a venue set up, and part of the grant application will be that they would ask us to set them up with a venue, or, they might say, oh, we'll just partner with the library. But our library is quite small and they already do a lot of programming. So we just want to keep that in mind, that it's better if our venues, the club, the library, the town hall have sort of already know that this is being applied for. It's already been, worked out and partnered with them. So that's where the priority for events and programs that have already secured a local venue. That's sort of where that comes in. Any other questions about the priorities?
Not exactly about the priorities, but how do we go about, do we just first go through and say, yes, we want to fund these, and no, we don't want to fund these, and then decide how much each gets? Because if we start assigning money at the beginning, by the time we get to 31, there's going to be that $2 left.
Yes. This has worked in the past where we look at the list and look at the ones that meet these priorities first. And I'll go ahead and we can go ahead and say we're not going to look at the other ones until the end and see if there's any funds left. Okay, so if that's okay, we can look at the list in that way first and see what we come up with for a total amount of money. If we've taken off applicants who don't meet those priorities in the first round.
Yep.
Okay. I looked at the list today and I did try to make some notes about that. And I hope you can also help feedback on this as well, or offer what you've read as well. I'm just going to start with I'm going to start at the top of the list, and the first one I'm talking about is the Bombyx Brass Festival.
Why are we skipping Quabbin Valley Pro Musica?
I skipped it at the moment because it is what, Orange and New Salem, is that right? Is that what it is in their application?
That's what it
I
is.
saw that.
That
Bombyx is in Florence.
Yeah, Bombyx is farther away.
Florence, yeah, it's farther away. Okay, so let's start with that
the reason why Quabbin, I'm a member of Quabbin Valley, and in fact, it did this application last year, not this year. And the reason why we ask for money from every town that we have members singing.
Yes, right.
Live there. So that's why Shutesbury gets one. There's two of us. There's about 30 people in the group, and there's two of us from Shutesbury.
Yes, I'm skipping it because it's it is not out of our range. Do you see it? Like I'm skipping it because I'm talking about the ones that are not directly. Yes.
Sorry, I didn't
That's
understand.
okay.
Okay.
That is why I'm skipping it. I'm talking about Bombix first because it is further afield.
Yeah.
And I did know that Quabbin is asking for, because they have participants and they are nearby, and Shutesbury is so small that they do serve our community with the core, because New Salem is very close to where we are.
We don't have one.
We don't have one. Correct. Yes. And because our community members sing there,
And go to the concerts too.
yeah, exactly. So I skipped it because of that reason, so that we can come back to it later. So right now, I'm hoping we can go through the list and take out applications that are not directly tied to our community, and we'll have enough money to cover everything else. Fingers crossed.
Sounds good.
Okay. So Bombex Brass Festival is takes place in Florence. I'm gonna count that out at the moment. Does anyone have any objections to that? Does anyone support removing that one at the moment?
I would agree to remove it. for
Okay.
that.
Yeah, I do too. It's sort of a Florence thing.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. While I'm making this list, can someone track the amounts that I'm saying? So they asked for $300.
I can
So
do
I'm
that.
saying-
I got calculator right here.
Okay, great. So we're gonna take that one off. Actually, that doesn't make sense. We don't need to track that. What we need to track is the things that we might say yes to, right?
That's
Yeah.
right.
Okay. So
Yep.
forget that. We'll use that calculator later, Nate. Forget that at the moment. Okay. So we're taking that off. What's next on the list, folks? What do you think?
Where was Mucho Gusto? Where did they want to locate themselves?
I
They're
believe the
going to-
library. Is that
Library.
right?
They're going to libraries of many different towns.
This program, I think, is the Shutesbury Library. They have
Shutesbury Library has agreed to have
Yeah.
them meet there. Yeah.
I just have a question. I didn't read through the entire booklet, but I noticed there were Shutesbury Library applicants, but I wondered, is it going to be ready to host things in this calendar year?
Yeah, a lot of what they're hosting there, what's on here now, are things that they've hosted in the past, and they hold them in the town hall
Yeah. Or at the athletic club.
Mm-hmm.
or the athletic club, right?
Or I think Tales and Tunes has been at the library, in the library space. They've been using
And the
the
ukulele.
library uses all three of those spaces that we just described. Yeah.
Yeah, the Tales and Tunes with Katie is actually, they have one on Friday at the Shutesbury Elementary School.
Okay. In the music room there.
So
That's right.
they use four venues then. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. All the ones we have. That's it. That's what we've got. And the
That's
common,
what
I
we've
guess.
got.
The
Yeah.
common. Okay. Can we look at that one, Mateo, the Community Network for Children?
Sorry.
It's okay.
This
Yeah,
one.
give you the page number. Yep. Okay, the library is possibly going to be open in the fall. So this would be a new library.
That's assuming that everything goes well with construction.
Right. I know they host the Community Network for Children's programs they've given them a venue for years, so I'm sure they'll move them to a different space if they need to.
Yeah, as I recall from reading through this, they've already gotten support from the library in terms of working with them.
Yeah. Yes, they do have support, and I know that the CNC Community Network for Children, they have been well attended by Shutesbury families for years, the programs that they do.
This is Tom and Lori. I just like saw that Lori Davidson and Tom. They do the music and movement. They're incredible musicians, incredible talents, and yeah, we should definitely support them as much as we can.
Yeah, I think it's an important thing that they're doing. That making Spanish come alive and not just be in a classroom.
Okay.
I support it.
Okay. Let's keep that in the yes column, and let's continue through for oh, I wanted to mention I'm going to move down to number 8, introduction to wool sculpting. Unless there's something else here.
I'd like to talk about number 6.
Okay. Yes. Okay. Let's talk about that.
I think
We
what
go
they're doing
back.
is,
Mateo, can we go back to the main list, or are you just going down to number 8?
I was just hang on a second. It'll be easier if I do this.
Yeah. Let's go back to the main list.
number 6 is the Hilltown Families Suggests, and basically what they do is maintain a website that lists things to do in a bunch of hill towns, including Shutesbury, which I think is a really nice thing. But I mean, do we need to give them $250 to do that? They're going to do it anyway.
That's a good question. I had a note next to that one as well. In terms of funding the full amount, funding it partially, or not funding it this year, because we do have so many applications this year for, I think, good applications this year for our funding.
Has that been funded by us before?
We do fund it in the past. It's usually a partial fund. We do a partial fund for that one. But
well, I'm not against it. I think it's a good thing that they're doing.
I'm totally, if we are, just because we've funded things in the past, it doesn't mean that we have to do it every year. I don't think that has to be necessary. And I'm totally open to,
Yeah.
have it discussing it and not funding it this year if we decide.
Well, I just, I mostly just want to learn and sort of listen this time around, but I do wonder if we can just go through first and think about prioritizing the things that actually are
Okay.
right near here, and then go back, like things that actually are going to happen in Shutesbury, and then see what we have left over after that.
Great.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely the way to go, since we have a lot of a lot of Shutesbury applications in this pile, and not a lot of money. And I think if it comes down to it, I would prefer to prioritize actual programs, and then if there is a capacity to support something after that, then support things that aren't programming so much as outreach and marketing, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Everyone,
can we
okay,
just
moving
go,
forward that
can
way?
we just go through the list rather fast, and is that even possible?
That's
to
absolutely
just
possible.
everything that's actually taking place somewhere, in the town of Shutesbury.
Yeah.
And just,
Oh yeah, that would, I already did look at that. That would be 3,
Mhm.
Okay.
4, sorry, 3, 4, 9,
okay,
10,
okay.
11,
Wait,
12.
can you just get the screen to, so 11, you said?
11,
Yes, that's at the library.
Yeah, 12.
12, these are all the library programs.
Okay,
13,
yeah.
14, 15, 22.
What about 16 though?
So 16, so one of the things that I did note is there are a couple of things here that indicated that they would like to do it in Shutesbury, but gave no indication that they had a venue secured, which is one of the
They have no venue, and also I was not impressed with the way they were doing it at all.
Mhm.
It
So
was
the-
one of the ones that I had questioned.
so the three sort of priority criteria are Shutesbury based,
Mhm.
projects, events, and programs that have secured a local venue,
Yep.
and projects, events, and programs that serve the widest range of local populations. So if they indicated in their application location to be announced, or said something like, we would like to do this at the library or town hall, that seemed to indicate to me that they didn't have that venue secured.
Yeah.
Okay.
And just as a point of, just a question here, if we like the application and we do want to support them and they don't have that, can we reach out and say, hey, can we help you get a venue, or is that not what we do?
We can reach out and give feedback, and also we can say we're going to fund you. It didn't quite meet this criteria, but this is why we're doing it, because of the meeting this local audience that we want to make sure we prioritize. We can definitely give that feedback in our award letter if we do choose to go with them. So yes, we can go through a list of what things.
Well, then I'd like to keep them on the list if possible.
Let's keep them on the list and see where we get, and then we can go back and make decisions on that as well. I also want to say, I just want to add here that we also, just because someone does tick those 3 boxes, that doesn't necessarily mean we have to fund it. We can have other,
yeah, of course. Of course.
I just wanted to add that out there.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm gonna.
Sorry.
Can we just go through the list?
Can you put 16? I'm gonna put 16 there too.
And then the just sort of continuing down the list of those that are in Shutesbury with confirmed venues. 22.
I'm sorry, what was number that was that?
22 was the MCBA author visit to the school.
Okay.
24, 26, and 30.
By the way, she's really good. I've gone to at least 1, maybe 2 of her things.
And the theft of dignity, number 31, didn't have a venue.
Yeah, it had no venue. It also had no dates. It was there are certain applications that we get that I kind of think of as aspirational.
Yes, exactly.
They're applying to as many local cultural councils as possible. And then depending on who gives them money, that's where they go to do it.
Right.
But it indicates to me that they haven't actually thought about committing to coming here and serving this community specifically.
Right.
Which is
like the lady who wants to put the sculpture of a pin.
Oh, that one. If you actually read that one, she doesn't actually put the statue up.
No, she doesn't. She doesn't do anything.
Who does it? We do?
Yeah, the cultural council is responsible for putting it up and maintaining it and taking it down and everything. I was like, no, we're not.
No. Okay. Okay, now we need the calculator.
Yeah, we're over budget. If you can scroll up for me to the first page, and we'll just do that again real quick. So we're looking at
Do you want me to read the numbers?
Yes, please.
Okay. 420, 550, 400, 500, 1200, 600, 500, 500, 400, 300, 880, 550, 900, 750.
Yeah, we're at 8,450.
I don't know that we almost never fully fund everything, right? I mean,
or anything.
Yeah, or anything.
I know from the times that I've done it, and I also know because I not only sing with Quabbin Valley Pro Musica, but I also sing with Neshoba Valley, not Neshoba Valley. That's where I used to sing, Pioneer Valley Capella. I know that what they're asking is a lot more than they would expect to get, because they know that people pare back from what you ask for.
Mm.
Handsmanship.
Hmm. That's quite a bit over. Okay.
Yes, but some of them were asking for ridiculous amounts.
I mean, I think that some things like, for example, number 11, they're asking for the full amount of that project from us.
Yes,
And
but then they say that the Friends of the Library will fill in with whatever we don't give them. And that's the way it should be. The Friends of the Library should be supporting those things.
yeah, and the Friends has the money to do that too.
Yes.
So it says a concert series at the new library. So what about that? Is that going to be happening in this year?
That's
There's
what they're applying for fiscal year 25, so it has to happen this year. If they can't do it, then that money is returned to the Cultural Council and we can use it next year.
Can you just, is the fiscal year, it begins in what, like we're doing this now, so it's December through December, what's the fiscal year?
It's like January.
The fiscal year is July 1st to June 30th.
Yes.
So this would be the fiscal year.
Grant year.
The grant year is January to December.
Yes. They have until January 15 to finish.
Oh, so as long as they like hosted the concert series by December 2025?
Correct. Yes.
Yes, and this is only for 3 concerts. So if they have one a month in September, October, and November.
Yeah, right, sure. I think because the library is a very exciting new place and new venue and possibility for higher community engagement, I would really go a little crazy with giving them the money they want. I think anything to get the new library off to a really good start.
Yeah. We could consider funding one concert
Mm-hmm.
with this, like we like this, like if it goes well, we'd love to do another one for you next year. You know what I mean? Like instead of three at the new library this fall, maybe fund one, or I mean, this is a possibility. That would be
I think that's a good idea.
$400.
Yeah, that makes sense too. Yeah, sure.
Because there are several library programs that are all awesome. I mean, personally, like sourdough, it's like a good variety. I feel like sourdough, the gardening.
It's amazing what Marianne does with a library that's smaller than my living room.
I know. Can we just recheck? Can we just double check though on the Harmony and the Stacks application? Does it say that they will? Does it say they'll scale it back, or does it say that they would get the money from the Friends?
They said they'd get it from the Friends. Keep going. You have a long ways to go.
I want to give you a page number. I'm trying to. These things are kind of hard to.
They had what's the point of a table of contents if it doesn't have page numbers?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not very helpful. That's for sure.
We're talking about. If someone else has that information up too, that's fine as well.
There we go. So it says, yeah, we'll supplement with Friends of the Library funds.
Okay. All right. Thank you for checking that. I'm just going to mark that in as 400. So that just took 800 off that excess that we had.
What number was that?
So we were 2,748 over.
No, I'm sorry. What number? Like 10 or 11 or 12, which
11.
11. Thank you. So we're going to do 400 there.
Oh, another library one. Let's just talk about the next one, number 12, the Reptile Nook Animal Talk series. It's a series of 3 programs. I think the note was if we can't do 3, they would scale it back. Is that right? What was it? If we might reduce only 2
reduce
programs.
2 programs,
Mhm.
yeah.
If the funding isn't provided. There is also there is a Raptor program as well. So perhaps we could I'm just going to propose we fund the 2 Reptile Nook programs instead of 3.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure why they're doing 3. It seems, I mean, is there really an audience demand for 3 reptile?
Well, she listed 3 venues, I think.
At the one at the library, one at the athletic club, and one at town hall.
Yeah, I know. It's
Like
interesting.
kind of overkill.
Yeah, it is interesting.
Yeah, I think
We do one or 2.
I would just
I
do
think
one.
one at the Shutesbury Athletic Club, because that's where they usually do the animal ones.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
I would just do one, but also I feel like don't we need to kind of see how many things are we funding that are geared to kids and how many to elders? Or,
We do need to look at that.
Yeah. I think that's a great way to look
but
at
let's
things.
just start with one.
Okay. So I'm gonna guess that would be $200 for
Yeah. And this is kids. And
do you
the,
want to does someone want to track that sort of the audience for these? Like
Yeah, I can do that. So this one is kids, and can we just go back? The
11 that's everybody.
11 is everybody?
Yeah,
Okay, and then what was the one before?
we haven't done any of the others.
But Tom and Laurie?
Tom and Lori,
That's kids. I think
Kids,
that's kids.
What number was that one?
that is Community Network for Children, number 4.
Okay, and that's all we've talked about so far?
But we didn't decide on the amount of money for number 4.
I would personally leave it at that. I don't think that there's well, let's look if there's another source of funding for that one. Because I'm assuming that is Tom and Lori's fee to do it. That is number
Number 4.
number 4. Yeah.
550. Wait, can you tell me what the amount was?
No, that's not the one.
550.
550. Okay.
There is
Fans can provide $100 to support it.
okay. So that could be 450 and it would still happen.
Could you scroll down a little bit, Mateo, please? So why are they doing 2 sessions in Shutesbury? I guess they're doing two sessions everywhere. Maybe we should just fund one?
We're
You
fund
see
the 2 in Shutesbury.
Yeah, I agree with that. So that would be how much then?
550.
Just for the Shutesbury, okay.
Yep.
So they're doing it twice.
Mm-hmm.
Did they say are they doing both times at the library?
Yeah. And I guess in October, so maybe it's like over 2 different weekends or.
They usually CNC like puts together a flyer and they spread it really well, and it would probably have both events for the, on the flyer that they share to,
Well, if they're doing the same thing twice, why are we funding this twice and not somebody else twice?
Because I don't see in their application, this could just be done once. My guess is that it's some kind of program that they have like
Yeah, but
put together. They're designed to be a 2-part series because they have done partnerships with the Hitchcock Center in the past where they bring Hitchcock Center folks to Shutesbury to run a program. And that has been like a 3-session series, which is like, like they're, they tend to, what I've seen when they send me the like flyers afterwards from when they've done the program, like the artists or specialists they bring to community, like do a series that sort of it relates. It's not just a duplicate. It's like something enriching in different ways.
Okay.
With that teaching artist, my guess is they've, I don't want to guess, but that they, with Tom and Lori, they, this is sort of the offering that they have put together as only because they haven't specified in it that they would only bring them once if they had less money. They said, I think they would either not do it or they could fund $100 out of their, out of the CNC's budget if we couldn't fund the full amount.
Well,
I
if
think
they can
I'm
get
trying to respect the holisticness of like an application, as
Right.
at it, what they've told us about what would happen without, if they've told us they could have 2 sessions instead of 3, like honoring, like, thinking about that. But if they haven't said that that's an option, it might not be an option to do it that way.
But if they can get $100 from CNC, why don't we fund them for $450?
Sure.
Can you scroll down, Teo, to see if that's what they say? Too far.
Yeah,
There is no other
I made a note. Here it is, right here. If the council is unable to fund the entire amount, the CNC program will provide up to 100 from their donation funds to support the program.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I see. I think Elizabeth is here now as well. Hi.
Hey, so sorry for the delay. We've had quite an evening. Nice to
Yeah.
see everyone.
Hi.
Hi, Elizabeth.
Should we make a note for this one at 450? Any other discussion about that as an option?
Sure, I'm okay with that.
That
Yeah, I
sounds
think that's good.
sounds good. We're at $1,050 right now with the 3 that we've talked about so far.
Okay.
What should we talk about next?
The next one that's in, well, let's go back to the ones that we've skipped over that are in Shutesbury, number
Mhm.
3.
Okay.
And, yeah,
Teo, it'd probably be really helpful for you if we do this in order, right?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so number 3, make your own pin back button. This is
It's the pin back buttons. Yeah. That's an
This is
awful
a
lot of money
local-
for some kids to make a little pin back
Mhm.
buttons.
So the audience is K through 6, local venue, local artists.
They don't have any other source of funding, and
They would go to the PTO, they said, but
are
Mhm.
these, could somebody tell me, are these teenagers or
no,
adults?
this is little kids.
the elementary.
The applicants are adults.
They're adults, okay.
Mhm.
Oh, okay. But the audience is what, second
The
to fourth
audience is
grade?
for kids.
Correct, yeah.
I
Pre-K
mean,
through 6.
I think it's fine for kids to make buttons, but it's a lot of money.
It's a pretty sweet little project. Sarah did it with my daughter's first 3rd grade class this past year, and they came home with some pretty sweet, artsy little buttons. And Sarah, I think, would want to, do that more on a larger scale. I think it's a pretty neat project. Kids love buttons. I don't know. It doesn't seem too much.
She applied for this last year at the same amount for 420, and I remember we didn't fund the full amount. I think we did a reduced amount.
There you go.
I don't know if the PTO ended up making up the difference or not, or what.
Yeah. What was that? Well, I remember she had applied for a few, she had proposed a few projects and we chose just this one. Here, well, let's see. You think it was 420? Can I look that up real quick?
I wonder, I'm sorry to join late. I wonder if there's a shared meeting notes and I could get caught up on who we've talked about so far. I'm here to just support and I'll vote with the team. But it could
Our
be-
meeting notes are on paper at the moment. So they are
okay,
not, yeah, they're not being shared live at the moment. But just want to catch Elizabeth just up to date on just where we're at with our discussion.
Yeah, we've done, if you're talking about just the applications we've discussed, first of all, we made a list of all of the applicants that are from Shutesbury or it's being done in Shutesbury.
Great.
And so that cut out a lot of the 31.
Yep.
And we've discussed the number 4, which I don't remember what it is now.
It's Tom and Lori, mucho gusto.
Yeah.
Community Network for Children, the CNC one.
Yeah, that's great.
And number 11, God, my memory's.
Yep. Harmony in the Stacks.
Yeah.
Oh,
Live
yes, Harmony in
concert.
the Stacks, yes.
Oh,
We
wow.
wanted one of the 3 concerts there.
Nice.
And number 12, which was
Oh yeah, the reptile.
the Nook for reptiles. We funded
Right.
that at 200 instead
Okay.
of 400 or whatever they were asking for.
Mhm.
Thinking that it was for 3 programs, we might ask them to do 1 program with our funds.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Oh, is that what we decided? I had two down. It's 1.
I had down that for $200. Can someone confirm we were number 12? We had discussed giving them $200 for that
I have
application.
Yes.
$200, but I thought that meant 2. It only means,
Oh, that means 1, yeah.
okay.
I think that's
We're trying to pare down. We went through and came up with about $2,000 over what we have.
Yep.
To a lot for the grants. So we're trying to pare down each of these a little bit.
Yeah. But I mean, of course, that makes sense. Okay. Cool. Thank you. Sorry.
absolutely great to have you here.
It's great to see you.
I just want to, I looked up last year, we funded the pin mag buttons at 420, the full amount.
Wait, which one are we on?
We're
The
on
pins?
number 3.
Okay, pins. Okay.
Yep. We have to flush out we have to flush things out differently this year because of the applications we have. So, if we want to change
Well,
that.
listen, I don't know if we can just put that one on hold because right now we have 3 kid ones and only 1 for everybody.
Okay.
Okay, so we're going to come back to that one.
Is that okay?
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Next one on our list is number 9.
Okay, which one is that?
I don't
This
know.
is
Shutesbury Open
Shutesbury
Studios.
Open Studios 2025.
Oh, that was wonderful. I did that last year. I thought it was wonderful.
I think it's great.
I also think it's great.
What was the turnout what was the turnout?
Oh, the places were crowded. I don't know how many did it, but every place I went to was crowded.
Is
I
it-
have no objections to funding this.
Yeah, they're only asking for 250. They're not asking for a lot.
yeah.
This
I think
amount,
we're
they're
asking
asking for
for
400.
Or yeah. If you guys, I can speak to that if you guys want.
I would like to know what is that? Yeah, what is the money used for?
Well, we can go through the application, but it's we need to make more signs. So it's for signage, mostly for signage and advertising. But we can look at the budget. I can't recall off the top of my head exactly what. But like there's just a little bit of money for the graphic designer. There's a little bit of money for you know, to pay the taxes. I have to pay a tax on the grant money, so there's a little bit of money put aside for that.
Is there any, oh, here it is. Is there any funding for the person organizing the open studios?
There is there.
Okay,
I
good,
think
good.
I think I get like $50. I mean, like I said, it's like it's to pay the taxes on the grant money. So it's, you know, it's volunteer. It's not a big deal. But we do pay. We would like to get a photographer this year. So in that first salaries and fees, we'd like to get a photographer to come by and actually document, you know, all the people. And Sarah Casillo is going to do the graphic design. So we're going to pay her a little bit of money to update the signage and the maps, because you have to create maps for everybody to get to where they need to go.
And where is there $100 coming from somewhere else? Because you've only asked for 400.
We are getting $100 from the rec committee. They've already committed to $100 from the recreation committee.
Okay.
So if we cut out 100, you could do it without a photographer?
Like I said, we were hoping to get a photographer in this year, so we were hoping to hire somebody. Yeah.
But if we only gave you $300, you could do it without a photographer.
You can.
I would be in favor of funding the whole amount asked for, because I think this is a great, almost like a feature, bit wide audience, intergenerational headliner of Shutesbury. I would say I think this could be on par with like the Turkey Trot in terms of being something that the town is known for, that attracts a lot of folks. That can be very well done, with like signposting and maps and having, I think having photography is, I'm saying this, I'm a little biased because I photographed the turkey trot for them so that they have the photos to like share in future years. I think it's very good, A, as like an archival document of our town and who's here and what they're doing, and B, to help grow it in the future. Because I really hope this program continues on, that someone, Nate, or continues doing this year after year. And
Well, thanks, Kara. I can't. I appreciate all that. I think you're right on.
Yeah.
so I think that that has been asked for out of consideration for what they want to do and how they want to grow it. And I'm personally, I'm in support of fully funding it for what they've asked for, because I think it's also very reasonable. I think that
Yeah, $100
folks
for a
organizers could be
photographer
paid
isn't that?
more.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Graphic design. You know, it's bare bones.
I would
Yeah.
just as a sort of a procedural thing, note that like we like obviously in our own deliberations we can make decisions about, well, I don't think we should be paying for this or that, but we can't tell the applicant, you know, we're giving you $200 instead of 400 and expect you to cut or pay for this yourself. All that we can really do is look at that question that says, how will you adjust this project if the council cannot fund the entire amount, and assume that that's how they're going to do it. So we might say as a council, well, we don't want to pay for a photographer, but we can't tell the applicant to say, you know, either cut the photographer or pay for it yourself. They could use the money for the photographer, and the answer to the question here is they would probably have to do the signs from the previous year and limit the amount of maps and flyers. So, I mean, it's just something to think about when we think about like what we're willing to fund or not fund. But I think this kind of leads in the point about the maps and flyers leads into a question that I have, Nate, about and sorry, I know you're not feeling well, so I don't want to make you talk too much, but is this, I actually don't know, this is actually a good question, I think, for all of the people that we give money to, but is the Shutesbury Cultural Council credited on these materials?
Absolutely.
That's
So
actually a law. They have to do that.
Yep, they're on the signs. So we made these like the corrugated plastic signs, like lawn signs that you see for like political campaigns or whatever. And so yeah, Cultural Council is on there. And they're going to be, and we're hoping to get more signage that goes up 202 and get more of a draw, you know, from like 202 or whatever. So that's the idea with getting more signage together.
Are you going to add any more artists, or is this, you're going to do the same as last year?
It's going to be about a similar, there might be, yeah, it's going to be about 10 artists. So a good amount.
Was last year the first time?
Yeah,
Yeah.
last year was the first time, yeah.
I have
And
a
it was
gen-
only in an afternoon, I think, wasn't it?
That's right.
yeah.
It's because I couldn't get to everybody in the time.
Mm. I have a general question about conflict of interest. So I'm just trying to, so Nate, I don't know you, you're the person who's organizing this.
Yeah.
So, and so people who are on this committee can submit applications.
Yeah, I was wondering about that too. I was told I need to recuse myself when voting for it.
Correct. Yes. Yeah.
But there's something that doesn't seem fair to me right now is that the committee
That I'm advocating for it.
is asking you extra questions, which the other candidates, we
Right.
can't
I
get
had that
more details from the other candidates.
totally. I agree with
So
you.
I mean, I'm very supportive of it, but I just wonder if we should be careful about that.
Absolutely. I think we should.
Yeah,
I
I
can
think
keep my mouth shut.
the kinds of questions we ask Nate are, we should think about that. But I also, the meeting is open and any applicant can be in attendance at the meeting. So
It's
Nate could
true.
have also been like, you know, everyone can attend and listen to or
And advocate for their.
So you can advocate. Okay, that's good to know. So this meeting was advertised?
It was
Posted.
advertised according to open meeting laws. Yes.
Okay, okay.
But by advertising, there's not advertising, but it was posted according to the laws for open meeting and is on a platform where folks can join us and be part of it.
Mhm.
And I'm just taking over from Joan. Joan Green was the one who ran it last year and she was exhausted by it. So I just stepped in to help her and help keep this thing going. It's like I said, I'm not benefiting, you know, I'm not paying, you know, I'm not getting money from it or anything.
And Nate does have to recuse himself from making a decision about this one. But in the past, we also have had Rory Valentine was on our committee previously, and she also had applied for funding while on the committee as well, and answered questions about her project if we had them, but did not vote on the decision or how much money would be given to that project.
I'd like to point out that it's 6:15.
Great. Okay.
So are we funding it for the whole?
So the meeting is up for 5 p.m. to 7 p.m.
Yeah.
Yes, that's my goal is that we're done by 7, if not sooner than that.
Okay, let's motor.
Okay, great.
Well,
So
I
we
like
going
this
to say
project and
that-
I second I think funding it at full. I think funding it fully would be great.
Let's do a vote, shall we? A vote for what are we voting for? Full fund or
400.
partial? Is that what we're gonna vote? Full, like a 400 or less $100?
Well, ask about 400 and then people can
Okay.
decide
So,
whether they.
who is it? If you're in favor of, I can't see who's saying aye. So can you just raise your hand on your screen? Who's in favor? Please raise your hand. Yes.
In favor.
$400. 400.
Oh, I mean, yes. We're gonna ask another question too, right?
No, that's it. That's my question.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So we have 3 yeses.
Yeah, 4.
Okay. 4. Okay.
4 including you.
Okay. Then I'm going to say that's a yes for that one.
For $400. Yes.
$400. Okay.
And that what we're saying is for everybody.
Yeah.
There weren't a whole lot of kids there.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think this is particularly a.
So it's adults then.
Kara, I thought you said it was intergenerational. I wasn't there last year, but
It's there weren't a lot of kids. There were.
let's just say it's more for adults then.
Yeah. Okay, next is number 10. So just scroll down a little bit, Mateo.
And what is the title of that one?
Tales and Tunes with Katie.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's
The
been going on
library.
forever. You know, we have to fund it at least partially anyway.
What did you say?
I said that's been going on at the library forever. We have to fund it at least partially, I would think.
Yes, this is a long time program, also supported by, does that say Community Network for Children? Is that right? But this
It
is the
should
library.
be.
The library is
Should be.
applying for this, right? This is just refresh me. This is a library. Marianne, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Library operating budget, CNC operating budget, and the Friends of the Library also fund them.
2,700. Yeah.
Well, they're not asking us for 2,700. That's the whole project budget.
Right. It's supported by the operating budget, CNC, and the Friends of the Library. What are they asking us for?
500.
500. I would fund this fully. Katie is incredible. I bring my daughters to her and have for the past however long, 8 years. And she's incredible. And I'd give her everything that I have.
Mhm.
Yeah, I agree. She's just a local working musician who's amazing, and you know, her
I always think of it, it's like having Julie Andrews like in our town, like bring my daughter to meet Maria and sing with Maria.
Yeah, I think
She's
that's
incredible.
we need to support for sure.
yeah. This is for how many sessions?
36.
36 at, yeah, okay. So this is, they're asking us for a small amount of for less than a quarter.
Mhm.
I'm also in favor of funding this fully.
I second that.
Do we take a vote?
Sure.
Yep.
Okay, so I just want to, what is the alternative? Can we just discuss what these the alternative, or if you want to vote differently? Is it to vote it partially? Is that what it would be? I just want to be clear if you vote yes, or if you're voting alternatively. It would be to continue the discussion. What's the
Well, what about, how much can I ask, what are we at right now in terms of?
That's a good question. Well, we just voted for 400 for the open studios, and this is 500, so we're at 900 right now.
No, we're at 400.
No, the
We're
whole thing.
1,415.
How much?
1,450.
Okay. I don't know how many more. Well, we have to go through 20 more.
No, not 20 more. We've got
20.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 more.
Can we just say 500, but then come back to it, like tweak it a little bit if necessary?
Yeah, that's what we've done in the past is we've ended up going back to some of the ones that we fully funded and saying, can we pare
Yeah.
back 100 here, 100
Okay.
there?
All right.
okay?
Yeah, I think we're all in agreement to fund it, and revisiting it at the end is a good idea.
Let's put it in our total for now, and then we know we can come back, okay?
Yeah.
We already discussed 11. This is Harmony in the Stacks.
And 12, which
And
is
12.
Mhm.
Yep.
yeah, that's the
Partially funding
referendum.
that. So we've got 400 for number 11, 200 for number 12.
And 13 is one that we want to look at. It's another library project, I think.
Use the library project. They said that if we did not approve the full amount, they might ask the speaker to lower their fee. That was the
Can you
Yeah,
just say what
I'm
the project
surprised-
is again, please? I don't have.
This is
Long Meadows.
Yeah, I'm a little biased on this because I tried to make my lawn into a meadow and it failed, so I need to have some help.
It's a really worthwhile enterprise.
It turned into weeds, not a meadow.
I mean, my only concern is that $500
Is a lot, yeah.
a lot for a speaker fee for a 20-person event.
Yeah, this is why it says we might ask the presenter to take a lower fee. So I think perhaps the applicant anticipated this. Maybe that might be part of the discussion. It's in there. That's literally written in there as a consideration that we might have and that they could also consider. So
Well, I'm assuming that Marianne wrote this, and she can
Yes.
be very persuasive.
yeah, that's the truth.
I mean, I'm a big fan of like environmental art, and I certainly think that meadows and lawns and design certainly can fall within the scope of what the Cultural Council can consider. But I don't see that the description is making that connection for us. So I don't know if that makes a difference, but
Yeah, let's look at that.
I think
Um,
like I would absolutely go to this talk, and you know,
But does this fall under our purview? Is that what you mean?
I wonder, you know. I mean,
So-
I could certainly write a thing about this that would bring it under our purview, but I'm not sure that they've done that.
Mm-hmm.
so science programming is one of the allowed disciplines.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
I think this is a really good idea. I would hope that more than 20 people would come to it, but who knows? Why don't we suggest 250?
I'm gonna say maybe we suggest for 350 or 400.
This guy better be pretty good for $400.
350? 300?
I mean, I feel like I think 300 is completely reasonable for
Okay.
a person event. Maybe more people can,
I
but
do too. I mean, the times that I've given talks at libraries, I did it for nothing.
right. And I feel like if if he comes back and says to Marianne, well, I need more than that,
Mm.
she can go to the Friends of the Library or something. But for our purposes, I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree. 300 is good.
I'm gonna put question mark 250 back in there, okay? As we revisit this, okay? We can say 300 right now. Anyone else? Oh, who's the speaker? Who is the speaker? Can you go to that page, the next page, perhaps?
Owen Wormser. Oh, it's like a book talk.
Um,
Oh, he's trying to push his book. I don't think we should pay him anything.
mm-hmm.
Wormser.
Mm.
That's got to be is it everybody? Just me, or is it? He's
Tell
growing
him he
things.
can
His
bring
name
a
is
stack of
Wormser.
books and he can sign them for people. You know,
No, this is a good point. We've had this, but we've come up with this before as well. I mean, is it called a book talk, or he just happens to have released a book? I mean, that's a little different than doing a book talk, right? I don't know how
I mean,
well, what do you all think?
Owen will introduce you to his book.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
The released book.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Um, where is this person local? Do we know? Based in Western Mass.
Really what he's trying to do is get people to hire him to come fix their failed meadows.
Mhm. I also think that it's actually not completely aligned with the landscape of Shutesbury, which is a forested landscape. It's hard to have any kind of meadow here. There's so many trees.
It's just a problem, but meadows are they're really necessary. But you're
They
right. There's
are,
not
but
very
I
many.
don't feel like Shutesbury is the main place that people are going to have meadows. I
Yeah,
think
you're right.
if there was something, somebody who came and talked about forests, that would be more connected to this actual place where we are. I think they can have a meadow program in Amherst or another town where there's more open space than there is here.
Yeah, this is a good point.
Yeah, that's a good point.
How about if can we just put this on hold and go through some of the other?
Yeah, let's
sure.
wait on this.
I'm putting this on hold. Let's not put this in our total at the moment, Nate, or whoever's doing our calculator, okay? But I have a hold note next to it.
So the next one is number 14.
These are raptors in flight
They're
with
the
Manhattan
Raptors
falconry. This is at the club.
Club. Yep.
So that can serve a lot of people.
Yeah, and I think they've been there before. I know a lot of people are interested in raptors. I get to see them every day because they come and sit on a branch over top of the river in my backyard.
I believe, have you been to this program before? I think this serves all adults,
Yeah, it does.
children alike. Yep.
Yeah.
I like raptors. They're incredible. Okay, so we've got 100 people. They have a partner. I think this will be a big draw. I'm assuming that $500 is the fee to bring the raptors. Do they have no, let's see.
Salary for the falconer. Yeah.
The Friends of the Library would supplement the budget if we don't fund the whole thing.
So let's not fund the whole thing.
Okay.
I agree.
Yeah. So
Yes to fund it, and how much, but how much would we want to fund this one?
well, if we funded it for 350, I bet the Friends would kick in the other 150. But it's a lot of work to move those birds around. So it's 350 is actually kind of skimpy for what they're doing, I think. But
Well,
yeah.
no, they will have to pay 500, I think, to bring the bird. They can't
Yeah.
have them bring the birds for less. It would be how much comes from us, which basically is coming from, we are distributing funds that the state has allotted to us, right? And then the Friends of the Library, those are funds that the Friends of the Library have collected from our community, correct? For that to run programming and things. So how much of this can we pull from the state funds that are for our town? That's sort of the question here. And I think they will still run it partially funded at the $500. It's how much of that is coming from our local Friends organization, how much is coming from the Cultural Council funds. So right now we have a proposal for 350 from us and 150, then they would come up with the 150. I think that's reasonable. Any other?
Let's second that.
Second that, okay.
We're at 1,800 bucks,
Okay.
I think.
So we've got 350 for number 14. I'm going to move on. Is that all right?
Yep.
Okay. 15, sourdough starter workshop.
It's hard for me to get excited about this, but I don't like sourdough. So
Where are they thinking of doing that?
At the library.
So,
Yeah.
so at the new library?
Yeah, it says fall 2025, so it must be they're assuming a new one then.
Mhm.
yeah, they can't do it where they are now. There's no water there.
Yeah, right. And I was just thinking about a kitchen area, so.
Does the new library have
Actually, it might be better to do it in the basement of the town hall because that has a kitchen.
can't
Well,
use
I
that?
asked Mary Ann recently, and she said that it's going to have a kitchenette.
Oh,
Ah,
good.
okay.
The water in the basement, the water in that kitchen, Cheryl, is not potable.
Yeah, I know.
Are you-
You wash with it,
Hall?
but you can't drink it.
Oh, Lordy. Okay.
Again, this is one where they said that they can ask the Friends to supplement. So if we're
Okay.
going to fund it, we should fund partially.
How much are they asking?
400.
So
But
let's
this
put in
small-
200.
This is to serve 20 people, So,
Yeah, that's a lot.
I mean, I would be fine with 200.
Yeah, 200 sounds good.
I just want to make a note. This is serving adults as
Right.
well, just since we're considering making sure we offer fun programs that satisfy a range of ages.
Well, so far of the ones that we've discussed, we have 3 that are for kids. We have 2 that are for adults and 2 that are for everyone.
Sourdough Brandon. Oh, man.
Yeah, I think
I
if
know
we
it's sourdough
focus-
Brandon. Sorry, I really.
I have 4. I have 1, 2. Yeah, I have 5 for kids.
I think we should also just take note of the fact that there are, because of the nature of the applications we received, proportionally more programs for kids probably than for general audiences, adults.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that always the case?
Really? Yeah.
Yeah, it is. So yeah, I think that's
The library and the school are like the big applicants.
Mhm. It's important to take in, I think, into context is that that more of the applications are serving children or youth in
So
total.
maybe that would be something to
That's
think about
important.
in future years.
That's important because if we want culture to survive, we have to have our kids exposed to it. And this is
Absolutely.
I
one way to
agree.
do that.
Absolutely. And as a parent of small children, I take full advantage of all these things.
Well, I'm a parent of only 4 pod children, so that doesn't even
Yeah.
affect my decision. But still, I think it's important.
I also I just want to add that the programs, even if it is for children, there are adults with the children who get to be together and socialize and
Absolutely.
be, in community
It's
as
a
well.
community
Absolutely.
thing. Yeah.
In those, and also, I also have attended all those programs. I have learned a lot also from Hitchcock Center artists who come to Shutesbury to do a program for children.
Absolutely.
It's not always so fine a
For kids or for adults.
Yeah, right.
Totally. Totally.
But I also want to say, I just want to pitch this in here that we are all cultural council members, and it is okay as part of our role in the council to connect with people in the community, to encourage folks we know who do things that would be of interest to diverse ages in our community to apply for grants in the future. This is part of our role, is to advocate for what we do, what we offer, and to encourage if someone has a good idea that you think would be welcome culturally for a different age group, to encourage them to apply in the future. That is okay to do and encouraged.
But I just wonder if that's part of the task of this committee to make more to bring that to the attention of the citizens, because I actually really wasn't even aware of the existence of this until recently.
Right. Yes.
Like putting out frequent, or a few, maybe once a quarter, even putting a do you have something you want to offer? Because while I totally support programming for children, it does seem a little one-sided for me. I mean, I'm a teacher of young children, so I completely support it. But as a person whose children who have grown, and now I have moved recently into this town, I don't feel like there's a lot of programming that appeals to me. I won't go to a children's event because I don't have children anymore. So,
Well, come to the open studios.
Yeah, that's right. Open studios is one
Yeah,
great
it's going to be
thing.
fun.
Yeah.
Well, I think if we can fund all the Shutesbury things for less than $5,702 or whatever it is, then we can look at something like concerts, which would be more for the adults. But
Right.
but first we have to go through the Shutesbury ones.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Okay, we're honoring Shutesbury elders is number 16.
yeah, that one I am not enthusiastic about this at all. I just
Can
think
you make sure you let us know like your where on our priorities list, or like where that where the sort of decision making is coming from as we discuss?
the problem that I had with this was that they're going to honor one elder and have a whole bunch of other adults sitting around in a circle looking at this one elder. I think I would, if it were me, I would be mortified. I can't imagine that this is a good thing.
Well, it looks like the person has organized these things in Wendell, if I'm reading correctly. And I've seen that advertised in the Wendell publications. Does anybody know how successful it is there, or how many show up?
Her application has feedback included. She's provided, I think on the next page, quotes from folks who have participated. These are testimony. So maybe not for everyone, but this was the experience of folks who have participated.
Okay.
I think they're very strong and supportive of the program, and Bill has run it in a community nearby, a community that's very similar to our community in terms of demographics, and
Yeah, when she says I've already organized 8 successful events in Wendell, that makes me think twice about it.
So
I support it. I think we do need to do more in that department in this community as well as communities everywhere.
Yeah, I'll add that I think it's one of the few things that does target this community, and she's also Indigenous, which I think is another thing that we should be thinking about in terms of the scope of who and how we fund. My first thought on this was that it would, if it's conversationally generated, right? Like if she's in true dialogue, it would be a really powerful opportunity for a lot of folks. So I guess I would be in support of this at some level. It's only $300.
I don't.
And it sounds like my family is, I'm gonna have to jump off for 1 second, but sorry, I'll be back soon. Where are we with quorum without me?
Still fine. We're okay. Yeah,
I'll be back.
we're checking.
So I mentioned at this earlier at the start of the meeting, this is one of the events where it's not clear that there is a venue or a date. So it feels, again, aspirational to me as opposed to we've got a plan and we're definitely going to do it. And also on the where is it? Talking about sort of partnerships with other people in town, it says, I've approached Council on Aging contact Martha Favre regarding this program and hope to work closely with them on this event, which I don't know, maybe I'm like wearing my close reading hat too much here, but
No, I agree with you entirely, Matteo. This is not very well put together.
I completely understand that I think that this would be a great project to do, but I feel like it hasn't been planned in the way that we sort of are expecting from all of the other applicants, in having a venue and having a date and having like a sort of confirmation of support from the person in the community who's sort of, I would assume, to be the main point of contact, right? For the senior population. I mean, part of me feels like maybe this is something that we don't fund this year, but in the letter saying we're not funding it, it's to sort of be explicit and say next year when you apply, have this plan finalized, have the venue confirmed, have the dates picked, have the letter of support from the Council on Aging.
And also the elder that they're planning to do it. I know in Indigenous communities, this is the way elders are treated, and I think that's wonderful. But people who are not Indigenous probably would be very uncomfortable with it. At least I would.
I think we shouldn't make that assumption for how participants might experience, but I think the other, just in terms of thinking about our priorities, in terms of having a relationship with a venue, having a date in mind, having those things planned out, that is something we have asked from other folks, at least to have one of those things. Even if a date, it's hard to set dates for stuff, but having a clear partnership with Shutesbury or with she mentioned contacting Martha at the Council on Aging, but not necessarily that they were ready to collaborate on it. I think that, Matteo brings a good point about just sort of the success, whether it would be successful or not in Shutesbury based on, yeah.
And the fact that the venue that is listed as possibly Shutesbury Town Hall, but then the budget includes a fee for renting the venue. The town hall, you can book that room without paying a fee. So it suggests that, that this applicant hasn't really seriously looked into putting this together yet. This is kind of in the dream stage, as opposed to the sort of plan is made stage.
Yeah.
Well, they've done it in Wendell where she lives, and she thinks, okay, maybe some other town would like it.
And I think that Shutesbury might. I think there are plenty of people in town that would. I just think we.
Yeah, I agree.
Can I just double check in the application? Is it honoring a group of elders or just one? Is it one session, just one elder?
It's one elder each time. That person, if you go to the pictures, it shows a picture of a circle with one elder sort of at the head of it, and then a circle of chairs around it with other people.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree with you, Mateo. So I think we should just put that on hold and give them our feedback in there. Yeah, for next year.
Okay. I'm gonna move us all forward now. Are you ready for that? Okay.
So $0 for number 15, right?
We are putting it on 16 and we're putting this on hold. So we're not putting any dollars to it at this moment. Looking at number 22, the MCBA author visit.
What does that acronym mean?
Massachusetts Children's Book
Oh.
Awards. Is that the right?
There's also a Massachusetts Center for the book, so I thought it was that.
It's Massachusetts Center for the Book Awards, maybe.
No, it's the Massachusetts Children's Book Award winner.
Okay. Okay.
So it's
I'm
invited.
sorry, I have my numbers mixed up here. Was the honoring our elders number 16?
Correct. Yes.
What was number 15 then? We skipped over that.
15 was the sourdough starter workshop.
And we funded that at what?
200.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, this is a yearly program that comes to the elementary school. Can you go to the next page?
Actually, I think it's a really good idea to bring a graphic novelist to talk to, what is it, fourth graders he's talking to? Fourth through sixth graders. I mean, that's an age where kids who are not good readers, if you can get them engaged, that would be really important. However, $800 is a lot of money.
Where does it say they're getting more funding from?
Yeah, let's check that page.
It's from the
Because
school.
shouldn't the school pay for that? Something like that?
So it says last year I secured additional funding from Shutesbury's PTO because we didn't fully fund it. However, this meant we were not able to offer a separate author visit for our younger readers.
So yeah, last year I remember we had this discussion about funding it fully or not because it was on the higher end of the projects we fund. This school does not have a, in their operating budget, this would not come out of, this is like an extra cult enrichment for the students that they bring in. So the PTO, we did not fund it fully last year. What did we fund instead? And thinking that the PTO would make up for the rest of it, but I think they had to shrink the program slightly, it sounds like. Sounds like that's what they're telling us this year. Last year, we only funded $242 of that program last year.
Oh, that's where the $2 went last year.
We probably had $2 left over from the year before, and so we had to use it. Yeah, that's what we. Well, what happens sometimes, Cheryl, is that sometimes folks don't end up doing their program and we retain money. Sometimes there's money in an account that earns some extra interest, and we retain that as well. So that's how we get to be with that extra $2. So that's probably where it went. Yes. I think we funded it kind of low last year, and they still did it with funds from the PTO, but it sounds like they did have to cut some of the programming for other classes at the school.
You remember how much they asked for last year?
What's that?
Remember how much they asked for last year? I'm just wondering how much we went under.
I only have in here 242. Let's see.
I might have last year's.
Yeah, let's see if yeah. Here I have awards approved. No, that was from 2022.
Okay.
Oh wait, I have the panel book from last year. Let me look at it.
They asked for 450 last time.
They asked for 450 last time.
Oh,
Okay.
This guy's really expensive.
Yeah.
Oh, he's coming from a ways because he has to stay overnight, evidently. Well,
It's-
they're only asking for $80 for
They're
transportation.
they're splitting it between Shutesbury, Leverett, Swift River, and Irving. They're splitting the overnight fee. It sounds like he's doing all 4 schools maybe in one day or in one trip, basically.
A lot of money for a 1 hour talk.
It really is, yeah.
Okay. And you're confirming, I just didn't confirm myself, but you confirm, Mateo, that last year they asked for 4 something, for
Okay.
400 something.
So last year, it sounds like we went with roughly half.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do we do that again? Is that going to put the PTO in a really bad spot?
I don't know. I have no idea what kind of spot the PTO is in. I don't know. Yeah, I can't speak to that. Can you just go to where where they say what they will do? I
They
hope.
they cut it back like they did last year, is what they say.
How will you adjust the project if the council cannot fully? Last year's.
We were not able to offer a separate author visit for our younger readers.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that that books that, especially graphic books that appeal to 4th to 6th graders are actually appropriate for younger readers.
I think that, that might be true. I don't think that is a call we can make based on our app.
Oh, of course not. I'm just expressing my opinion.
I'm just looking at past. I know we've always funded this in some way with the Cultural Council funds.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's such a good idea. Supporting reading is really important. It's just a lot of money.
Well, again, this money is this is our state allotment from the state to put into our community so they can do the things they proposed, what we decide to go with. So
Right, but we've already made the point that we're heavy on things for kids, and if we fund a lot of things at a lot of money, then we'll never get to things that adults would enjoy.
So let's just go through the rest
think
of the
we're-
list and see what we have. Because I also
Yeah.
feel like if we fund something like this through the elementary school, again, I find that in the town, I don't, where's like the advertising and things? So for people who are not connected, because they don't have children anymore, where do you find out about this? Like if we're funding it with cultural,
It's not open to the public. It's part of the school day.
well, but then it should be open to the public if we're using cultural council funds. It should be open and available to everybody, and it should be advertised as such.
I mean, there is no requirement in the local cultural council, in the statute or the Mass Cultural Council rules that says that events need to be open to the public. Cultural council funding is used for school programming routinely, especially because the schools are so severely underfunded.
Yeah.
I
Okay,
just
yeah, I
think this
didn't
is a
realize
lot of-
that.
This
Yeah.
is a lot of money, $800 for a 1 hour talk, and yeah.
yeah.
Huh.
I think from my calculations, I think we're at about $2,000 now. So we have about 3,700 to.
Well,
Yeah.
then let's do what they did last year and put in half, which is 440.
I'm going to make a note here to revisit this again.
Okay.
Okay.
I also have a question since it's 10:07. What's our plan going to be for getting through this?
Yeah, my stomach isn't going to put up with no dinner for much longer. I only eat 2 meals a day. My second meal is usually before 7.
We do have to continue. We have to continue through the rest of these tonight. So let's continue forward. Okay, we'll have to revisit that one.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
So that
We're revisiting it just on the amount, I believe, is what we're holding that for. Okay.
So there's 3 left that are definitely in Shutesbury that have a venue, which is 24, the Robot Puppet Show.
Oh, can we, it's about robots, right?
It's a puppet show.
It's a puppet
Yeah,
show.
it's a
This
puppet
is
show.
a local puppeteer and artist who lives in Shutesbury, has lived in Shutesbury a long time and does a puppet show every year. Looks like the venue is Shutesbury Elementary School.
To me, this just seems like something that would be fun, but I don't see a lot of educational uh, worth in it.
I think there, I mean, we can't really tell. I mean, I like the working
Yeah,
with
it's about,
social emotional concepts. That's really needed. And then there's a movement component to it. I don't know. I don't know how you judge something like this just based on the title. I mean, it could be really good.
Yeah, I don't think we have to judge whether it's educational, or not.
Yeah, Anne
Yeah.
Sobel is she's a pretty accomplished artist, and I think funding her project is a pretty good idea.
She is a longtime artist. And I've seen her shows before. They're very, very good. And very unique, incredibly unique to, like, I would say if there's like, how do I say this? If there's like a really rooted in Shutesbury artist who's, making things and sharing them with the community. This is an example of
Yeah, I
one of
think
them.
for that reason we should do that. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, she's,
Absolutely.
making her living doing this kind of work and
excuse me, I have to go get something.
sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Refund for last year. Last year we funded Anna Sobel a puppet show for her last year for $400.
And she's asking $550 this time.
Asking for $550.
It's a 2-person show.
Is it a 2-person show?
With Anne Marie Williams.
Oh, I see. So that's the difference. Thank you for pointing that out.
I would give the whole amount.
I agree.
Yeah, okay. I also am for that.
Okay, are we still on number 24?
We
Puppets?
discussed awarding the full amount for number 24.
I'm sorry, say that again, please.
We just discussed being in favor of awarding the full amount for number 24.
Which was
Was
how
that
much?
$550? Was that Kate Bailey? Was that Kate Bailey? She's the first grade teacher at the elementary school. Yeah, that letter. Is that from her? That's her.
Letter
Yes.
support.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I think we should fund this.
What amount are we at the moment?
2,550. That's from a rough. I mean, I don't know if I got everything, but that's where we're at right now.
Can I double check it also?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Please.
And if you want to go ahead and start discussing the number 26.
Hey, the monthly ukulele sing-along. This is another one that's been going on for a long time, right?
Yep.
Yes.
And this is open to anybody in the community.
Yeah, it says it's not for kids, actually.
And this is the one that's on Zoom?
Yep.
Yeah. It's a lot of people playing a ukulele.
Oh,
So
it's on Zoom still?
why is it $900? Oh, because it goes for the whole 12 months.
You get 75 a month. It's a annual program. We could fund it partially.
There are no
Well,
other
does any-
sources of projected income or needed. Oh, okay,
Yeah.
sorry.
I was
But-
wondering if anybody knows what the attendance is like, since it's a long time program. I'm
Well,
assuming it's
what does it say? How many people does?
25 people every week.
Yeah, I think my understanding is that that's
okay.
pretty accurate.
It's a lot of money for 25 people.
Can I also revisit, because Julia did she used to do this program in person in Shutesbury? Wasn't it like didn't the library host it as a strum along at the
Yeah.
library once a month, right?
Yeah, before the pandemic.
And then in the pandemic it went virtual. And is it still as well attended virtually? I guess I'm wondering, because it was very popular before the pandemic in person in Shutesbury.
I have no idea what the
Yeah.
prior attendance was like.
Yeah, there's no indication here of Mary Ann has committed to hosting and promoting the program.
Yeah, I know that's been a program that they've had ongoing for a while. But it's a lot of money if it's really just 20 people.
Per 20 per week, 20 to 25 per week.
And it's 9 months, right? It's more than 12 months a year, right?
12 months, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, how much did we fund it last year?
Last year we funded it $600 last year.
Why don't we do the same?
I second that.
I wonder if we could ask them too in the if next year they could consider going back to in person.
She asked for 600 last year. Her price is going.
She
That's a
asked
lot
for
more.
for the same amount of time. Thank you for looking that up, Mateo.
I can take a look. Let me see if I can find it.
In lieu of asking someone to individually to go in person, we might consider changing our priorities to prioritize non-virtual
Yeah.
programs. That our priority would be not just a local artist or local culture or local scientist, and not just a local venue, but that it be in person with in partnership with the local.
Yeah.
Or we could say this one isn't necessary. Mary Ann will promote it, but isn't necessarily being hosted by the library. Or we could be more specific for next year, so that if this comes up again next year, then our feedback can be, our priorities are, to be at that point. If our priorities are that it be in person, then we can give the feedback about asking this person.
Yeah, I think, I mean, when we first had the pandemic, a couple of the groups that I sang with tried to do things over the internet on Zoom. And, music just doesn't work very well that way.
So just to go back to your question, Kara, about last year, largely the same application, except it was $50 per month for 12 months.
Oh, she's given herself quite a raise.
Yeah.
I suggest if we do it, well, I would say at the most we should do is 600 like last year.
Sorry, I'm doing math again over here, but continue.
Yeah, I'm fine with the 600.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna put that in this
Yep.
this formula here. Nate, you and I can compare
Yep.
where we're at. And I kind of, I just also, before we end this meeting, I'd love to bring up again, maybe adding to our priorities, an in-person preference as well.
Yeah, I would like to do that.
I mean, I have mixed feelings about that. You know, we do all like this meeting we're having right now is Zoom, and it's pretty useful, and it's a pretty cool technology to be able to utilize for
Yeah,
meetings.
it works well if you've got fewer than 10 people. It does not work, believe me, I did it for a whole year with the groups that I sang with when we first had the pandemic, and it did not work. It doesn't work with music.
I think those are both two valid, viewpoints. Again, I can't say whether it works or not for Julie for the ukulele class. It might be great. I've never attended it. And Nate, you make a good point about we are meeting online also. I think that makes it possible for us all to do this on a Sunday night.
But
So
let me
I'm
point
not
out
feeling well.
that you can't have everybody singing along or playing along at the same time on Zoom because the feedback takes longer. So essentially, if you're doing it on Zoom, you're doing it by yourself and just watching somebody who's directing you as to what you're doing. I
Yeah,
found it.
I think she might be doing lessons, right? It's like lessons, right? So you can feels
like
like
a
you
group
could
lesson.
like you could.
I didn't think that's what it was. I
Okay,
think
sorry.
it was playing along,
I
plucking
think
along.
it is well, yeah, I think it is like a strum, like a group strum along, or maybe, but I think there, you might also be right, Nate, there's a lesson component to it that sort of builds on it over month to month.
Yeah,
But regardless, I don't think that our job is to decide whether or not a music course is successful on Zoom. I think we just ours is to think about, um, how I don't think it's us to tell someone how they should run the class, but that we think about our priorities and how we would want to set them in the future if we wanted to have make decisions based on whether something's in person or not.
yeah.
Yeah, the thing about Zoom is that it does not, it doesn't do anything to build community.
But Nate makes the point, it could make it more accessible for people that were in a
Well,
way that
that's
in
true.
person wasn't in the past. It could be more accessible
Yeah.
because of it being on Zoom. Um, I'm gonna move us forward just in the interest of time.
Yep.
We have $600 for the monthly ukulele on Zoom.
Yep.
I might give feedback on that. Just be like, we'd love to know more. Does it say the numbers of people who participated in Shutesbury? Perhaps that might be helpful for us just
I think
next
it's a 25.
25 Shutesbury residents. But does that include 25 people from all over the area? That's
Yeah,
maybe
it
that's the question.
doesn't indicate where they're from.
Yeah, it doesn't indicate. So that's the part I'm not actually clear about. Is it 25 folks? If it's on Zoom, it could be 25 folks, um, you know,
Follow.
Yeah,
in
that might be
12 communities.
that might be a better argument against, or not against, but that might be a better argument saying we prioritize in person as opposed to Zoom, because on Zoom there's no way to monitor if we're serving a Shutesbury population.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I agree.
That's,
There you go.
I think that's my question then, I guess, with if it's
Yeah.
on Zoom. I don't know I don't, if it was 25 participants strumming along monthly in Shutesbury, or we knew it was Shutesbury, or if it was closed to only Shutesbury residents, that would be,
Yeah.
yeah.
The question of like, if it's closed to only Shutesbury residents, that becomes really hard to enforce. And I don't think the artist would want to try to enforce it.
Can we look at it again? Is it $75 per, does Julie apply to other councils? Is it,
I think she just does it in Shutesbury. I think she's
she
a
just does it in
Shutesbury
Shutesbury?
resident.
Right, okay. She's promoting this class to Shutesbury residents.
I think so.
Yeah, I know it's
She
been there.
puts in their sense of community, but you don't get that when you're doing something like that over Zoom.
I think it's possible. I think it's, possible to,
Yeah,
Well, I think it
think
would serve a sense of community if we knew it was just the local community.
right, which we can't possibly
Yeah.
know.
Right.
So,
we
yeah.
can't know that,
That
can we?
becomes that I think that becomes an argument in favor of in person as opposed to Zoom that is more in line with what the cultural council sort of can fairly be objectively concerned with.
Yeah, I think that that's an objective instead of, a subjective response, having the objective one be, is it still serving Shutesbury community members on this monthly basis?
And
Because I think what's really great about this program.
we're building community right now via Zoom. Just want to make that point.
I guess it depends on your definition of community.
Well, we're funding community arts via Zoom. So we are building community right now as we speak.
Yeah, and I think that this debate that Nate and Cheryl are having is precisely the reason why we don't want to use a subjective category or criteria like that to talk about what modality the art, is being.
It's true. You can't measure building community.
Right. I think that is subjective, and that is not how we can make this decision, is in that way.
Yeah.
And I think we have to look at, if we can point at our priorities and whether this fits or not, then that would be the way to do it in an objective way. And I don't know if that's something we can answer with the information we have, and maybe that's an issue. Or maybe it's something we need to be, again, more clear about in our priorities for next year.
I will also just sort of looking at the priorities that we have stated. We don't actually say that we prioritize programs that serve Shutesbury residents. We say
Okay.
prioritize Shutesbury-based applicants.
Mm-hmm.
We don't say anything about audiences or publics being served. So maybe that's something we do want to clarify.
Yep.
Those priorities. All right, we have one last Shutesbury-based one, right?
Yes. Yep.
Number 30.
Fellowship through the fiber arts.
I've taken a couple of her, I've attended a couple of her sessions, and I really liked them, but then I do fiber arts. So, I'm biased that way.
Rory is another local, I would say this fits our priority. She's a local artist maker, who's been doing this for a while. This is her work that she does.
Yeah, it's another one of the things that Marianne really supports.
Mm-hmm.
But although they're done at the town hall, of course, because there's not room in the current library.
Also, I support it because we don't seem to have a lot of visual art.
Mm-hmm.
And this is also for adults, and we're really heavy on the kids at this point.
I would go for fully funding this one.
I would second that as well for fully funding. It's a very generous amount of time.
Does it say that they can get the money anywhere else, or is this strictly on her? I mean, I know Marianne supports it, but the library didn't put in for this, so they may not have any other way.
Entire funding cannot be granted. Further financial assistance may be sought through Friends of the Library. Or series can be scaled back. From my calculations, we have $3,150 spent already. I think this is something that we could $750 we can put towards this project.
Yeah, I certainly think it's a good thing to offer.
Absolutely.
I'm going through these totals again, and I'm including what's on hold. Can you all give me just a moment here to see where we're at with the total there? Thank you. Okay, I have a, this is good actually. I have a total of 5,360. And can I tell you which projects those are? What's the best way? Should I
Yeah.
just read it out loud?
Yep.
5,360. Maybe someone wants to note what that means. Okay, I've got this, and I'm including from that we already talked about, and I included, just bear with me, just hear what I have here. Okay, number 3, make your own pin back button, 420. Number 4, Mucho Gusto Spanish for Families, 450. Number 9, Shutesbury Open Studios, 400. Number 10, Tales and Tunes with Katie, 500. Number 11, Harmony on the Stacks, 400. Number 12, Reptile Nook, 200. I did not include Lawns into Meadows. We're gonna go with 14, Raptors, 350. Sourdough Starter, 200. MCBA Author Visit, 440. Robot Puppet Show, 550. Ukulele Play Along, 600. Fellowship Through Fiber Arts, 750. That means with those funded, we have still some money left.
I
Not a
say we
lot.
fund whatever. There were a few things that were underfunded
Yep.
that I would suggest we bump up, like the Tom and Lori one. And there was another one.
I think the MCBA Author Visit was underfunded.
Yeah.
We also underfunded the Reptile Nook and the Sourdough Starter, the library programs.
I'd say we take some money and bump up those
Yep.
funding.
Okay.
What about an extra, putting some of the money into a second library concert in the new library?
That's a
Are
good
you
idea.
including the $750 for this one, that the number 30 in your total?
Yes, that is included. Yes.
Okay.
And Lawns into Meadows is not
I
funded.
did not include Lawns into Meadows. I did not include anything for that one. We could change that. We talked about it a while and I had it on hold, and we could instead fund that partially. But there seemed to be,
Yeah, let's just bump up other ones. That's what I
okay.
would.
Okay. So I'm just gonna reconfirm that we're not going to fund, we've chosen not to fund lawns into meadows per our discussion earlier.
Which is number 16, right?
13.
13.
I would be on board with funding another one of the Harmony and the Stacks concerts. I feel like that event is going to be a kind of a signature welcome the community into the new library space, and I think it would be good for the Cultural Council to have
Yeah,
name
I
attached.
agree.
that's
Okay.
exactly why I want to do it.
Okay.
Yeah. I agree with that.
So I just said we had 342 left.
Let's give it to the number 11.
Wait, what
Okay.
did we decide? Oh, we could give it all to that grant 11.
That would take it to 742.
How much are they asking for?
Well,
1,200.
Oh,
yeah.
I think that's a nice thing.
yeah, and it's for everyone as opposed to kids.
Yeah.
Okay. I need to do these numbers again, just to double check. Okay,
Yeah.
so we are fully
Yep,
approved.
Yep,
Could I read it just,
please do.
Yeah.
could multiple people add these together while I read
I'm
them?
doing it. Yep.
Could someone else, could a second person also do it in addition to Nate with a calculator?
I'm going to be just writing it down for the notes.
Okay. What would be helpful if I just say the application number and then the amount at this moment? Does that work?
Yes.
Okay. Number 3, 420. Number
Wait a minute. Tell me what number. Okay. That's the pin.
Yes.
Okay.
Number 3, make your own pin back, $420. Number 4, Mucho Gusto Spanish, $450. Number 9, Shutesbury Open Studios, $400. Number 10, Tales and Tunes with Katie, $500. Number 11, Harmony in the Stacks, $742. Number 12, Reptile Nook, $200. Number 13, sorry, not number 13. Number 14, Raptors in Flight, $350. Number 15, Sourdough Starter, $200. Number 22, MCBA Author Visit, $440. Number 24, Robot Puppet Show, 500.
Sorry, Kara, could you say number 22 again?
Number 22, MCBA Author Visit, $440.
Okay.
24, Robot Puppet Show, $550. Number 26, Ukulele Play Along, $600. Number 30, Fiber Arts, $750.
5602.
5,602.
Oh, we're $100 off?
Yep.
Okay, so we have an extra 100.
So we put it towards the MCBA author visit.
It would make sense for that to at least equal the puppet show funding, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
So an extra 100.
So an extra 100 is going to number 22.
So 540 now.
540, yes.
And then now what's left?
I believe,
$2.
I think we spent the $2, right?
Oh, you're right, we did.
I think we,
Yeah, we spent it at the library.
Congratulations.
okay, we did it.
We did it.
And it's only, what, 20 of 8? No, 7:20.
Kara,
Cheryl, go have some dinner.
Kara, I have a
Yeah.
quick question.
Yeah,
Val Gilman and Becca Wheeler, are they no longer on the council?
correct. Their terms are over. They're up.
So it has to be updated on the website.
Yes. Yeah. I can, yeah, you can update that there and someone else is Rory, Becca, and Val are not on the council anymore. Well
And this
done.
is-
That was actually, this was a very challenging year because of all the, there were a lot of applications this year.
Yeah,
and
but it was made a lot easier when we said, okay, we're only going to do people in
I
Shutesbury.
agree. Yeah, that did make it a lot easier. So thank you for that suggestion early on.
I think something to we should probably, or the council in the future should probably be ready for, is that the new library is probably going to mean a lot more library programming coming to the.
Mhm. Mhm.
Which is awesome.
Yeah, and but
Which
also
is
other
awesome.
people can, it might increase the amount of applicants from outside the library too.
Because it's a venue.
Yeah, it's because, it's a sorely needed venue.
Yes, yes, it is. I think it is a sorely needed venue, and I think it's interesting we get a mix of people who apply, the library applies for them, and people apply to do things at the library. Sometimes that's an interesting mix as well of
Well, we can't make the library apply for them because that's putting a lot of extra work on Mary Ann's
true.
table or desk, and she's not getting extra people for this library. But if people want to use it, they need to get a letter from Mary Ann saying they can use it, that the library supports them coming there.
Mhm. Yeah. This is good. I feel like we just made a good list that's very, it feels very uh supportive for our community. It feels like very Shutesbury. I feel like this list is good. It's good.
It's very kid heavy, but I'm not sure there's any way around that.
Can we verify if that, can we look at that to see if more objectively? Do you mind before we end this call?
That it's kid heavy?
Yeah, can we actually look at that list?
Yes, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And what was number 30? I didn't write that down.
It's fiber arts.
That one's for
Oh,
anybody.
okay, so we have 6 that are just for kids. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 that are for adults mostly, and then we have 1, 2, 3 that are for everyone.
I have 7 just for kids.
Hold on, but I don't think that I don't think that they're necessarily just for kids, because I want to just throw in that like adults also involve, like, come together in many of those programs as well.
Right, but they're parents.
But there's parents, that's different. A parent population is different from an adult population.
Exactly.
It's really important for parents to connect. It's necessary for communities, but it's not the same as strictly an adult population. And it does, yeah. So,
And we have a lot of senior people in this community. It's and I feel that they're underserved by this.
I think we need to do more outreach over the coming year.
I agree.
Yeah, I think that's a great
I think we should stick with what we have now and just really focus on outreach. And I think we're going to have to maybe meet again, or we have to some way to coordinate amongst ourselves how to do the outreach.
This is just from the Mass Cultural Council, from my interactions with them and what I know about the aims of the Cultural Council is I don't know that we as a council have the bandwidth to meet more and do this together as a group, but the council really encourages each of you individually to be advocates for the Cultural Council and to be actively encouraging, recruiting, folks to apply for grants, or asking for that kind of application, that you'd love to see that. Of course we can't promise anything without talking as a group, but it is okay and encouraged to talk to folks, spread the word, let them know when applications are due, and encourage a diversity of applications for different audiences.
Yeah, but I think, you're right, we should do that individually, but I think we do need to make sure that we all have the same priorities in terms of what the Cultural Council of Shutesbury is looking for, as opposed to what each person thinks is important.
Well, I think that there could be a kind of more outreach that's just a more generalistic posters, things in publications, online, that just doesn't cater to any particular group, but lists all the possibilities, maybe.
Yes, I think that we should write something to be in maybe the summer newsletter that's put out, asking, suggesting that people apply for these grants, and making a list of not a list, but just a general suggestion of the various kinds of activities that we would entertain.
Yeah.
And I am perfectly, I'm a writer. That's what I do for a living. I'm perfectly happy to write that. But I would certainly want input from people as to what should go into it.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, this year I did make sure that I posted in the town newsletter and on the town listserv that goes out to everybody about the upcoming deadline and the kinds of stuff we were looking for. So that's something, in part of formalizing what these roles are, that is something I would like to write into, like, that the chair or the secretary make sure that goes in every year. for example.
Yep, good
Yep.
idea.
You know, does that need to be a council meeting? I don't know that necessarily needs to be everybody, but it would be great to like make the role, the secretary, the treasurer, the chair, sort of have those touchstones throughout the year to make sure we share that stuff. That's, you know, that's where we are. That's what we do.
I don't know that it should be specifically a specific chairperson or secretary or whatever. It should be somebody who actually likes to write and knows how to write.
Great. That's, if you would like to do more of that, please email me and I will make sure I connect you with ways to do that. Okay. I'm, it is a lot of this role by itself is a lot of work, and I really want the whole council to be able to bring their talents. If you have a talent you want to offer to spreading the word or writing about it, then that would be very welcome. That would be great.
Okay.
Thank you, everybody. I want to wrap this up because it's getting kind of late. I have a next step, which is to first I send the letters through the Mass Cultural Council, our denial letters. I think I can't remember if that's quite the right word for it. The letters that say we did not accept their application for funding, and then there's a time period to wait, and then I send the approval letters out to folks. So please don't let anyone know what, well, I suppose they could check in on this meeting, but that's those next two steps. And Jean, I will connect with you about working through that together. Okay.
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 Thanks, everyone.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks, Carol.
I make a
You're
motion
welcome.
to adjourn.
Yes. Motion to adjourn.
Okay.
It's seconded. Third. I don't know. Okay. Good night.
Good night,
Bye.
guys.
Thanks,
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.